أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حميم. تنزيل من الرحمن الرحيم. كتاب فصلت آياته قرآنا عربيا لقوم يعلمون بشيرا ونذيرا فأعرض أكثرهم فهم لا يسمعون وقالوا قلوبنا في أكنة مما تدعونا إليه وفي آذاننا وقر ومن بيننا وبينك حجاب فاعمل إننا عاملون قل إنما أنا بشر مثلكم يوحى إلي أنما إلهكم إله واحد فاستقيموا إليه واستغفروه وويل للمشركين الذين لا يؤتون الزكاة وهم بالآخرة هم كافرون إن الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات لهم أجر غير ممنون قل أئنكم لتكفرون بالذي خلق الأرض في يومين وتجعلون له أندادا ذلك رب العالمين وجعل فيها رواسي من فوقها وبارك فيها وقدر فيها أقواتها في 4 أيام سواء للسائلين ثم استوى إلى السماء وهي دخان فقال لها وللأرض ائتيا طوعا أو كرها قالتا أتينا طائعين.
جزاك الله خير. بدر إقبال.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. فقداهن 7 سماوات في يومين أوحى في كل سماء أمرها وزينا السماء الدنيا بمصابيح وحفظا ذلك تقدير العزيز العليم فإن أعرضوا فقل أنذرتكم صاعقة مثل صاعقة عاد وثمود إذ جاءتهم الرسل من بين أيديهم ومن خلفهم ألا تعبدوا إلا الله قالوا لو شاء ربنا لأنزل ملائكة فإنا بما أرسلتم به كافرون فأما عاد فاستكبروا في الأرض بغير الحق وقالوا من أشد منا قوة أولم يروا أن الله الذي خلقهم هو أشد منهم قوة وكانوا بآياتنا يجحدون فأرسلنا عليهم ريحا صرصرا في أيام نحسات لنذيقهم عذاب الخزي في الحياة الدنيا ولعذاب الآخرة أخزى وهم لا ينصرون وأما ثمود فهديناهم فاستحبوا العمى على الهدى فأخذتهم صاعقة العذاب الهون بما كانوا يكسبون ونجينا الذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون ويوم يحشر أعداء الله إلى النار فهم يوزعون حتى إذا ما جاءوها شهد عليهم سمعهم وأبصارهم وجلودهم بما كانوا يعملون.
جزاك الله خير. Brother Zafar Iqbal, would you like to read? If you want to read, you're more than welcome. Okay, I'm not sure whether he's there. In that case, تفضل رضوان الله يخليك.
الشيطان الرجيم جزاك الله خير. يسو من اوكي هذا مش الشيطان الرجيم. وقالوا لجلودهم لم شهدتم علينا قالوا أنطقنا الله الذي أنطق كل شيء وهو خلقكم أول مرة وإليه ترجعون وما كنتم تستترون أن يشهد عليكم سمعكم ولا أبصاركم ولا جلودكم ولكن ظننتم أن الله لا يعلم كثيرا مما تعملون وذلكم ظنكم الذي ظننتم بربكم أرداكم فأصبحتم من الخاسرين فإن يصبروا فالنار مثوى لهم وإن يستعتبوا فما هم من المعتبين وقيضنا لهم قرناء فزينوا لهم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم وحق عليهم القول في قد خلت من قبلهم من الجن والإنس إنهم كانوا خاسرين وقال الذين كفروا لا تسمعوا لهذا القرآن والغوا فيه لعلكم تغلبون فلنذيقن الذين كفروا عذابا شديدا ولنجزينهم أسوأ الذي كانوا يعملون.
ثاني دكتور الآية دي.
فلنذيقن الذين كفروا عذابا شديدا ولنجزينهم أسوأ الذي كانوا يعملون ذلك جزاء أعداء الله النار لهم فيها دار الخلد جزاء بما كانوا بآياتنا يجحدون وقال الذين كفروا ربنا أرنا الذين أضلانا من الجن والإنس
الأولانية صح، الأولى صح.
أيوة
اللذين
ربنا أرنا الذين أضلانا من الجن والإنس نجعلهما تحت أقدامنا ليكونا من الأسفلين.
جزاك الله خير. سيد حبيبنا.
إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وأبشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم ومن أحسن قولا ممن دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم إما ينزغنك من الشيطان نزغ فاستعذ بالله إنه هو السميع العليم. من آياته الليل والنهار والشمس والقمر لا تسجدوا للشمس ولا للقمر واسجدوا لله الذي خلقهن إن كنتم إياه تعبدون. فإن استكبروا فالذين عند ربك يسبحون له بالليل والنهار وهم لا يسأمون. لو في فرصة نسجد يا دكتور سعد.
Do after this.
ومن آياته أنك ترى الأرض خاشعة فإذا أنزلنا عليها الماء اهتزت وربت إن الذي أحياها لمحيي الموتى إنه على كل شيء قدير. إن الذين يلحدون في آياتنا لا يخفون علينا أفمن يلقى في النار خير أم من يأتي آمنا القيامة اعملوا ما شئتم إنه بما تعملون إن الذين كفروا بالذكر لما جاءهم وإنه لكتاب عزيز.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Zafar, do you want to read?
Yes, please.
Please do.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا يأتيه الباطل من بين يديه ولا من خلفه تنزيل من حكيم حميد ما يقال لك إلا ما قد قيل للرسل من قبلك إن ربك لذو مغفرة وذو عقاب أليم ولو جعلناه قرآنا أعجميا لقالوا لولا فصلت آياته أعجمي وعربي قل هو للذين آمنوا هدى وشفاء
أعجمي وعربي
أعجمي وعربي آياته أعجمي وعربي.
Like a question.
سيدنا عداء أخونا أعجمي.
أعجمي وعربي. Oh, it's
Okay.
It's Hamza and Ain. أعجمي وعربي قل هو للذين آمنوا هدى وشفاء والذين لا يؤمنون في آذانهم وقر وهو عليهم أمن أولئك ينادون من مكان بعيد ولقد آتينا موسى الكتاب فاختلف فيه ولولا كلمات سبقت من ربك لقضي بينهم وإنهم لفي شك منه مريب من عمل صالحا فلنفسه ومن أساء فعليها وما ربك بظلام للعبيد.
جزاك الله خير وأحسن إليك.
جزاك الله.
صدق الله العظيم. I think we'll stop here inshallah. And we
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن شاء الله نتحدث عن سورة الرحمن, and if we have time we might speak about سورة الطور. سورة الرحمن هي عروسة القرآن, the queen of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving us like a master class about his ni'am and his ala and his bounties, very similar to Surah An-Nahl but very different design, very unique words used in Surah Ar-Rahman, and this is one of the surah that one of the Kuffar Quraysh asked Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, read some Quran to me, and he read Surah Ar-Rahman and he said, read it again, and they read it again and read it for the third time, and then he said this famous thing about the Quran, inna alayhi lahalawa wa inna alahu lamutik wa inna asfalahu lamuthmir. This is how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how is delightful is Surah Ar-Rahman. So apart from the bounties that are mentioned in Surah Ar-Rahman, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is directing the surah to al-ins wal-jinn at the same time. Ya ma'shar al-ins wal-jinn. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to both of al-ins and al-jinn. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu said, لَقَدْ قَرَأْتُهَا عَلَى الْجِنِّ لَيْلَةَ الْأَمْسِ فَكَانُوا أَحْسَنَ مَرْدُودًا مِنْكُمْ كنت كلما أتيت على فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان. Prophet said he read it to al-jinn, and whenever he comes to this part فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان قالوا لا بشيء من نعمك ربنا نكذب فلك الحمد. They said we never make تكذيب to any parts of your نعم فلك الحمد. So فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان, it is repeated 31 times in the surah, and because I come to this we might come through it. If you divide the surah into 4 parts, the first part from ayah number 1 to ayah number 30, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about his bounties and the creation, and in this part from number 1 to number 30 فبأي آلاء ربكما تكذبان was repeated 8 times. And then the second part of the surah from ayah number 31 to ayah number 45, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the fire hell. It was repeated 7 times. And the second part is al-jannatayn for al-muttaqi, and we will come to that, the difference between Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked twice about jannatayn wa min dunihima jannatayn. So the first 2 couple of paradises, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described them from ayah number 46 to ayah number 61, and فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ comes 8 times, and then lastly from 62 to the end of the surah, وَمِن دُونِهِمَا جَنَّتَانِ, the description of the 2 paradises, and it comes فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا comes 8 times. It's, you can notice أبواب الجنة 8 and أبواب النار 7, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mentioned everything was corresponding. Also there is you can read to Brother Kahil on the internet about the 31. It's quite difficult to me. I don't like numbers so much. So the design of the surah is very unique, very delightful. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to tell us about his bounties. Because of the time pressure, probably I start from the end, because this might create some query. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mentioned وَلِمَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ جَنَّتَانِ. This is in ayah number 46, And then in ayah number 62, وَمِن دُونِهِمَا جَنَّتَانِ. So apparently, if you are doing taqwa, if you don't do the noob in your secret life when you are on your own, and if you are the same man in front of the people and with yourself, you will have a higher degree of paradise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing them. If your deeds are good, but you are not as good when you are with yourself, you have a lower degree of the paradise, and Allah describes them as well. So what is the difference between the description? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes higher Jannah as ذَوَاتَ أَفْنَانٍ. So they have afnan. Afnan is a group of trees that they are connected to each other, but in between the trees there is lights coming through. So it is more delightful to see the light coming in between the trees in comparison to the other lower Jannah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes them as mudhammatan. Mudhammatan means they have the number of trees are quite enormous and you don't see much light in between. So the view in the first two Jannah are much more delightful because of the light are penetrating in between. The second difference or comparison, فيهما عينان تجريان. This is about the higher Jannah, the higher two paradises, and so there are two running rivers. Of course, the running water is more delightful and more lively than the non-running water. In the other Jannah or lower Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes them as فيهما عينان نضاختان. It is like this naphora, like fountain, so it comes up and down. It doesn't run through. So it is delightful, but it is less delightful than the other Jannah. And then the third comparison about the fruits, what are you going to eat? فيهما من كل فاكهة زوجان. So every type of fruit you think of, and the types you don't think of, because there are some other types of fruits you never see, and we never know about. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to presenting them for us in the paradise, inshallah. And every type of this fruit, it have two different types. It might be something juicy, something less juicy, there is some difference we don't know, but they are more delightful. On the other hand, on the lower Jannah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describing them as فيهما فاكهة ونخل ورمان. Fruits and some palm trees and rumman. So it is less delightful than the previous Jannah. The fourth comparison is about where are you going to stay at, the beds. متكئين على فرش بطائنها من استبرق وجنى الجنتين دان. What is استبرق? Al-istabrak is al-harir al-samik, so the thick silk. So from interior, from inside, it is thick silk. So what about from outside? From outside, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaving you for your imagination. It is more delightful than you think. وَجَنَى الْجَنَّتَيْنِ dan means the fruits will come to you. Everything will come to you. Everything delightful, it will come to you. Whether you requested or you even think about it. On the lower Jannah, it is slightly lower. متكئين على رفرف خضر وعبقري حسان. A rafraf is the small pillows, and al-abqariyya al-hisan is busut manfusha. So some of the things that you will be leaning on, but they are less delightful than the previous Jannah. The fifth comparison, Abu Said, فيهن قاصرات الطرف لم يطمسهن إنس قبلهم ولا جان. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is describing al-hur al-ain as قاصرات الطرف. So they elected not to look to anyone before. It is their election, it is their choice They never looked to any man before, so they will be only looking to you. On the other hand, the comparison is حور مقصورات في الخيام, as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking them to stay here, don't go. So they are, it is less, the comparison is less for the favor of the previous one. So imagine now you are going to this higher paradises, you enter the garden, you will see lots of trees, lots of lights coming in between, lots of sunshine. You will see 2 rivers running through, you will see fruits of different types and coupled. You will see beds, you will see some bed linens made of the highest ever quality you think of silk, and you will see hurun ain waiting for you, and the fruits will be coming to your place. But this is only for the people who their interior is the same like their exterior. They don't do the noob in al-khalawat. There's lots of do I have more time or that's it?
I think we'll come to an end now because
okay.
we need Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair, and thank you very much.
Not brother say it today, leave him for today so he can dream.
Allah يكتبها لك.
آمين يا رب. All of us will dream.
Allahumma ameen.
Once more, we'll welcome Dr. Mohammed Ahdash, really, and which might be the last reminder in Ramadan for him, because whatever we're going through now from today, I don't think we will see again this year, unfortunately, in this Ramadan. But I'm very hopeful that he will be staying with us for the Halaqa Arabiya, even though it's less frequent. I'll be having a chat with him, inshallah, and see what his time allows. But I'm very grateful for him today, and I'll open the microphone to him. Dr. Al-Habib.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد معلم الخير. اللهم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام اجعلنا نصلي صلاة مودع ونصوم صيام مودع. كنا قد توقفنا في هذه العرض. We stopped at the آية in سورة الكهف: ولا تطع من أغفلنا قلبه عن ذكرنا واتبع هواه وكان أمره فرطا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directed his Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ولا تطع, don't follow, don't obey one of those whose hearts we have made them heedless, away from our remembrance, and who follows their desire. وَكَانَ أَمْرُهُ فُرُطًا. Now I just to stop at أَغْفَلْنَا قَلْبَهُ. We have made their hearts distracted, unaware. And this is serious, wallahi. Because if you connect this ayah with the other ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, أولئك الذين لم يرد الله أن يطهر قلوبهم. You do your job for tazkiyah. You do your job for purification. But the ultimate will is with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. You have to do your effort to find your route to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But don't rely on your effort. It is by Allah's will. So always you are bigger, you are a slave. You want Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Don't think it is like chemical experiment. I put this with this, then the result is this. No, it doesn't work. Remember the owner of that laboratory. Remember the owner of that factory. Always. Here, what will happen when the heart is distracted, running away from remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He will follow desire, and desire has no direction. And that's why وَكَانَ أَمْرُهُ فُرُطًا. He will be disorganized. He has no direction. This happens for the whole nation and for individual. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect all. So one mean of bringing your heart to the right is doing a lot of dhikr, and dhikr with heart. Another ayah which I would like to stop at is ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. ما جعل الله لرجل من قلبين في جوفه. It is in Surah Al-Ahzab, number 4. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not assigned to any man two hearts within his body. You don't have two hearts. You have only one heart. And this heart must be to be directed to the one Lord. You cannot have opposite hearts in one body. You have only one heart. And sometimes we think we can collect all things all in one. It doesn't work. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to liberate our hearts, to pure our hearts, and made the whole heart one in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة. Enter to Islam as a whole, as one. You cannot divide your life. Muslim here and non-Muslim there. Your heart here and your other heart there. If this happens, then it is kind of nifaq wal riyadhu billah. And when we unite our heart, we will have our life organized, because you have only one Lord, one direction, one target. So you will be protective. This ayah in Surah Al-Zumar gives us another warning about missing ذكر Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُم مِّن ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. فَوَيْلٌ, as you know, whether can be interpreted as valley in hellfire وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ, or great sorrow, great punishment, to those whose hearts are hardened against mentioning the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect it. The heart, in the first condition of the heart, it is soft because it's still from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Once a person becomes accountable becomes mukallaf, then the heart endures. And that's what is mentioned in another hadith, when a slave commits wrong, then the heart endures one dark spot. And when this heart is full of those dark spots, it becomes hard. Obviously, the hardness has different degrees. However, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam directed us about how to clean, to renew this heart, to return to the first condition by doing istighfar. So when you, that's why sometimes you will hear this complaint, I do dhikr but it doesn't work with me. Because before dhikr you have to clean that heart so it becomes soft. Warning enough that sometimes, and sadly this is what we find, that a person can even memorize the whole Quran. He cannot miss any single letter. You will not find any mistake in his recitation. You will not find any mistake in his Islamic appearance. But the heart is very hard. It doesn't work. Some contradictory issues here. Because Allah Rahman Rahim, the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, full of Rahmah, sent to Rahmah, and you find a person claiming that he is follower of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he does not have this mercy, there must be some wrong here. This is the wrong. The heart is very hard. When the heart becomes hard, what you put in this heart, whether Quran Kareem, whether Ilm Sharif, Hadith, whatever you put, the container is hard. فويل للقاسية من قلوبهم من ذكر الله. In the surah, if you go back to find Surah Al-Anfal, you find الذين إذا ذكر الله وجلت قلوبهم. When the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioned, their heart is shaking, fearful. This is condition of healthy heart. If we listen to Quran and we respond to Quran in this way, then the heart is working fine. But if you do not have this, then we have to review our hearts. Obviously, some, they pretend, and this is the worst scenario. This response must be real, from reflecting imaginary power to find out how you are within this ayah. Then the answer comes naturally. And this comes only based on Iman, that Quran is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we will face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is an ayah in Surah Al-Fatih, number 12, saying, وزين ذلك في قلوبكم وظننتم ظن السوء وكنتم قوما بورا. وزين ذلك في قلوبكم. That was made pleasing in your hearts. زين, as you know, it is built for that the doer is not known, and we usually we find this sometimes. I see this, I incline to this thing, I am away from this thing, all this in hearts. So be careful. What is the originator of this appealing, pleasing, or displeasing? And to find out, look at what follows after this heart action. Is it good or is it evil or good? وزين ذلك في قلوبكم. I will move to another ayah in Surah Qaf. إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب أو ألقى السمع وهو شهيد. Indeed, in that is a reminder for whoever has a heart or who listens while he is present in mind. A heart that makes sense of what they have heard. Then reminder needs a live heart. And this is what we find in our daily life. Many times we hear a lot of news, a lot of reminders, a lot of talks around us, and we come to the mosque to attend Friday khutbah and to hopefully very soon, and we but the heart is not there. إن في ذلك لذكرى لمن كان له قلب. Quran has enough a reminder. It works fine. And you find, look at what happened in our case. When we start gathering to read Quran, we need actually to bring the heart. Do I bring my heart with me today? Where is my heart today to attend this talk, to attend this khutbah? If your heart is with you, then it is successful. We pray, we stand before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but the heart is not there. It is out. It is moving around the globe. And that's why Quran does not touch, affect our hearts of this. And from here we understand, subhanallah, it is for some wisdom that we need to do sunnah, to rak'ah sunnah, to do some dhikr, just to bring the heart wake. As you do in exercise, you do some warming to prepare the body. And somehow it needs the same technique for working with heart, because the human at the end is a human. I will go to another ayah. ما أصاب من مصيبة إلا بإذن الله ومن يؤمن بالله يهدي قلبه والله بكل شيء عليم. It is in Surah Al-Taghabun, ayah 11. No disaster strikes except by permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يُؤْمِنْ بِاللَّهِ يَهْدِي قَلْبَهُ. Whoever believes in Allah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide his heart. Remember, connect this ayah with another ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah. وَلَمْ تُؤْمِنْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. The tongue utters the word of Iman, of faith. The body works for Salah, but what is the story about the heart? Is the heart doing the same? Once a person has this faith, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will guide this heart. That's exactly what we need every day, every moment. And just for the minimum, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us to read اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Always you need this guidance for daily guidance in our action for the whole age. وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد. And I conclude with, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our gathering, our sharing, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our deeds during this Ramadan and after. And I say, كل عام وأنتم بخير وتقبل الله مني ومنكم. And I ask you for forgiveness if I do any mistake or shortcoming. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive all, inshallah ta'ala.
Jazakallah khair al-jazaa. And on behalf of all those in this halaqa and in the previous halaqa, we are very grateful to you, and inshallah يكتبها كلية في حسناتك يا رب, to be among your good deeds. And inshallah, I'm praying to Allah now to soften all our hearts and to make our hearts خاشعة لذكر الله. Any questions, any comments للدكتور؟
السلام عليكم. جزاك الله دكتور على المحاضرة الرائعة. بس سؤال يعني نسمع السؤال هذا كثير من النون مسلمز، يعني يقول لك why Allah permit disaster to strike. For example, we see in Syria, Yemen, other countries, kids dies, elderly people, innocent people. The question, why Allah permit that to happen? Jazakallah.
It is very common question, and they put it as an essay for A level and GCC for religious studies, and they ask for Islamic answer in on this issue. قبل أن أتكلم, do you want me to speak in Arabic or English? نشوف الحاضرين كان.
I think because we've got a couple of brothers who are non-Arabic speakers, so I'd be grateful if you do it in English, please.
Okay. The basic answer is that we have to consider the questioner. Is he Muslim? Does he believe or not? Because the answer little bit will be there is some change. And on the basic level, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, لا يسأل عما يفعل وهم يسألون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never asked why he does or why he doesn't, and all we will be asked for their actions. So this is action of Allah. By the way, it is an insurance company that rated it this way, action of God. So it is decision by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are, as a servant, we believing in His Almighty, His mercy. We have to believe that whatever comes to humans, it is for their goodness. The forum, it might differ, but the ultimate will is to have mercy on humans. And for example, it is reminder, these actions, reminder for the whole humanity in the future that they might come back to the right path which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala designed for them to follow. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent these messages to whole humanity, they might remember. For those who will be affected with this disaster, it is a mercy for them, but we do not, it does not appear to us how does it work, but we have the full faith that it is mercy of Allah. Remember that we do not see the whole picture. It is only we see one scene from the whole story. We read one chapter. Those who will be affected, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have another chapters after this life for them. And as we know that sometimes I read this just very recently, we think that it is the body has spirit. Then when it dies, it is moved. It just take it on the opposite way. The spirit has shape, which is this body, but it will go. So it is endless. And since we believe on the wisdom, as we see it, we feel it. That's the wisdom, we feel it. The mercy, we find it. So be assured that the mercy is with them, the wisdom for them, the mercy for them. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's what comes to my mind at the moment, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthen our faith.
Jazakallah khair. I think what your introduction is, who is asking the question, because if it is asked from the believer, all you have to do is to refer to the book of Allah, and he'll find many examples where Allah would say that you would be tested. You would be tested, and sometimes the tests are very harsh and very severe. But as you said, I think what we are looking at an isolated chapter in a story which we will never be able to comprehend in its entirety. Jazakallah khair jaza. Any other questions? Well, if there aren't any, just to remind you that tomorrow, inshallah, we'll be starting with Surah Al-Dukhan on page 496, and that is just toward the end of the 25th juz'. And inshallah, we will be finishing the Quran on Thursday. And once again, on your behalf, I'd like to express our thanks to Dr. Mohammed Ahdash. And as I said, I hope it would be a long-term relationship between this community and himself. And may Allah bless him and his family and grant him a very peaceful and pleasant Eid. And inshallah, he'll have many Ramadans and we'll hear him more, if not all of us, at least some of us. Jazakallah khair jaza.
Ameen. وإياكم.
جزاك الله خير يا شيخ. جزاكم الله.
السلام عليكم.
جزاكم الله خير.
السلام عليكم.
جزاكم الله خير.
جزاك الله خير شيخ.